All right, in this lesson, we're going to begin talking about integers and in lessons to come, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers, multiplying, dividing integers, and all the different things that we can do with integers. But in this lesson, we are just talking about and becoming familiar with what integers are. Integers are positive and negative numbers, all right? And if you're looking on a number line, like the one down here at the bottom, you can see here that if you start at zero, zero is always going to be our starting point, and zero is neither positive nor negative. But if you move to the right from zero, you're going to have positive integers, and if you move to the left from zero, you're going to have negative integers, which brings up the relationship between the numbers. Okay, so the opposite of a number, say 4, the opposite of 4 is the negative 4. And the reason that it's opposite is because the 4 here is 4 spaces to the right. Okay, it's 4 spaces to the right of 0. Negative 4 is the same amount of spaces, 4 spaces to the left of 0. So opposite numbers are the same distance from 0, all right, but in other directions, all right? And 0, like I said, the number 0 is neither positive nor negative, and because of that, it doesn't, it is its own opposite. Integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites, like I had said earlier. And one of the ways that we're all familiar with integers is in real life situations. For instance, if you're at the beach and uh, you're talking with somebody about how what your elevation is. Well, if you're at the beach, your elevation is 0 because sea level has an elevation of 0. If you leave the beach and you come up to the mountains, then your elevation is going to increase and it's going to be positive. Or if you go out in a boat and you go scuba diving, which is underwater, your elevation, so to speak, is going to be negative. So, I mean, if you're scuba diving down 40 feet below the surface of the sea, your elevation would be a negative 40. All right, so there's other things that also commonly use integers, and those are things like the temperature. You talk about temperature being really hot, which would be 100 degrees, which would be a positive 100, okay? Or really cold, which if you live in Antarctica, you're talking about negative 40 degrees. All right, and so you're talking about negative numbers, numbers below 0. All right, money. Obviously, if you're talking about positive money, that means you have money in your pocket, which is a good thing. If you're talking about negative money, that means you owe somebody else money, which is not not a good thing. And then sometimes we can talk about positive and negative numbers if we're talking about a change in something. Like for instance, if you gain weight, it'd be a positive number. If you lose weight, it'd be a negative number. All right. So talking about the numbers and its opposite, they say graph the integer -7 and its opposite on a number line. So if you go to -7, that's right down here. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. Okay, that's 7 spaces from 0. Okay, that's not a very straight line, but okay, so what we want to do is we want to go 7 spaces to the right. Okay, and this is, it's not difficult. So the opposite of -7 is +7. So -7 and +7, and if it's positive, you don't have to put the plus sign down, are opposites. Okay? If you're talking about the graph of the integer -5 and its opposite, all right, -5 is here. Okay, so we could count, but if we know that we're at -5, that means we have to go to +5. So -5 and +5 are opposites. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about comparing and ordering, or putting integers in order, and some of the ways that we can do them, or that we can do that. One of the ways is by graphing them on a number line, and that's really the primary way. Whether you graph them on a physical number line, or if you have a number line that runs through your head and you just think in your brain about where they are on that number line. So if we're talking about a number line, once again, 0 is our starting point. Okay? So as you move to the right, your value increases. Okay? All right? So we all know that 2 is larger than 1. All right? We know that 3 is larger than 2, and so on. Where that comes into play, though, is if we're talking about negative numbers. Okay, so we have -1, -2, -3, -4. In this case, we could say -2 is larger than -3, or -2 is larger than -4 because it is further to the right. Okay, so integers increase in value as you move to the right along the number line, and so the opposite is also true. They decrease in value. Okay, they decrease it or get smaller as you move to the left. All right. Um, so if you're talking about money, for example, which would you rather have? Would you rather have a positive $5, or would you rather have a negative $5? Well, obviously you would rather have the positive $5 because that's $5 in your pocket versus a -5, which means that you owe someone $5. All right, so it says compare the integers -15 and -9, and it says to use the less than. Okay, this is less than. So you may want to copy that down in your notes. And this is greater than. All right, so let's graph it. -15 is already graphed actually. So that's down here. -9 is up here. So we know that -9 is larger than -15. Now there are several different ways of trying to remember this. People say that the big N goes towards the big number. Well, which is usually what I say. Some people say that this thing eats the bigger number. Okay, if you're looking at it like a Pac-Man. All right, but the big end goes to the big number. All right, and so you guys are all far enough along that you should be able to memorize that if it points to the left, if this would be like an arrowhead and it points to the left, that means less than. If it points to the right, it means greater than. All right. So that's another way of doing it. If I have oops, if I have this symbol and I draw that means less than. Okay. So we're talking about this arrowhead. Okay. If we're talking about this, it points to the right. If I draw my little arrow, that means greater than. Make sure that you know which one is which, because that's a common mistake that I see. All right, so -15 is less than -9. positive 4 and negative 4. Well, negative 4 is down here, positive 4 is up here. Obviously, positive 4 is to the right of negative 4, so positive 4 is greater than negative 4. All right? Negative 6 and positive 6. Negative 6, there again, this is just like the 4s. Negative 6 and positive 6. All right, so the positive 6, or the here it says negative 6 comes first, so negative 6 is less than positive 6. All right. All right, so this says compare the integers negative 4 and negative 11. All right, so negative 4 is here. Negative 11 is here. All right, which one is further to the right? Well, negative 4 is to the right. So that negative 4 is greater than negative 11. All right, negative 4 is greater than negative 11. Now it says use the number line to order the images negative 3, 6, negative 5, 2, 0, negative 8 from least to greatest. Well, so this is really easy. Just graph them on the number line. Dot above negative 3, dot above 6, negative 5, 2, 0, and negative 8. All right, so it says from least to greatest. That means the smallest to largest. Okay, so that means we started the smallest one. That's all the way on the left. So that would be negative 8, then negative 5, then negative 3, then 0, then 2, and finally 6. Once again, the same thing. Negative 5, positive 4, negative 3, positive 2, negative 1, and negative 2. And it says, again, from least to greatest. So we start all the way on the left. So negative 5, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, positive 2, and positive 4. All right, so which brings us to talking about absolute value. Absolute value is the distance that a number is from 0. It's a distance from 0 on a number line. Now, we all know that distance can never be negative, right? Because it's impossible to walk a negative distance. If you say, oh, well, then I can go backwards, well, that would be a direction, not a negative distance, all right? So distance can never be negative, so absolute values are never negative. They're either always positive, or in the case of 0, the absolute value of 0 is 0. And the symbol, this symbol right here of 2 vertical lines, is the symbol for the absolute value of. So for example, vertical line, negative 3, vertical line is read as the absolute value of negative 3. And in our example down here, it says find the number line, or use the number line to find the absolute value of 8. Well, so we start at 0, put a dot at 8, and we just simply count. If we need to, we can count the number of spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the absolute value of 8 is 8. Please do not get into the mistake of thinking that it's the opposite. It's not the opposite. It's that it's always going to be positive. So the absolute value of a positive number is still going to be a positive number. The absolute value of a negative number is going to be a positive number as well. So here it says use the number line to find the absolute value. It's got the two vertical lines of 3. So I put the 3 there and start at 0. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. So the absolute value of 3 is equal to 3. The absolute value of negative 12, that's way down here. All the way at the end. Start at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the absolute value of negative 12 is 12. Absolute value of negative 9, okay, that's right here. How far is negative 9 from 0? Well, it's obvious to see that it is 9 spaces. Oops, it's not a parentheses, it's a vertical line. All right, absolute value of negative 9 is 9. All right, and so that should help you guys out. If you have any questions, make sure that you ask them, and we'll talk to y'all later. See ya.